Chair now recognizes Mr. Burchett from Tennessee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary, Tennessee is a massive hub for nuclear energy. Is the Biden administration supportive of new nuclear deployment, especially the small modular reactors?
We are.
And can you tell me how y'all are helping with that deployment?
We thank very much Congress's funding in the 24 budget for small modular reactors, as well as the approval to be able to advance nuclear reactors, different designs. We've got about $12 billion that we are funding nuclear writ large, including the uranium strategy and the HALEU strategy that will be the fuel for the small modular reactors.
Can you give me a timeline? They keep telling me 10 years before those are rolled out, and that was about 5 years ago.
Well, I sure hope not. I know the Nuclear Regulatory Commission has approved a design of one of the small modular reactors and others that are in the mix. That's the first step, of course. But we are eager to partner with utilities, the tech community, who are obviously going to be needing clean baseload power and could have small modular reactors attached to, for example, data centers. That kind of strategy, we're
Do you have
very
a
eager.
timeline? Could you give me a date when we're going to see? We're
It
going to turn
depends
the
on
switch on one of these.
Here's what we'd like to see is that the utilities step up to be able to do this, because it's the utilities who want to do it. But it's not certainly not the federal government that's holding it back.
Let me switch gears. What is the responsibility of the Federal Protective Services within the Nuclear Security Administration?
Are you talking about transporting fuels?
No, ma'am. I want you to speak. Well, I was going to follow up with the numerous reports by the Federal Protective Services officers describing suspicious occurrences of UAPs over nuclear facilities.
Let me just say, the Defense Department has said there is no evidence of UFOs, et cetera, or aliens in the United States. However, at those sites, there may be drones that may be nefarious. And so we are definitely looking at that and making sure that our national security sites are protected. We have a whole program related to countering drones that may be coming from
Well, this isn't about drones, and this is prior to drones even. What protocols does the Department of Energy have for reporting and responding to any UAP sightings near nuclear infrastructure? And people joke about this, but I get a lot of questions about this concerning this and about this hearing today from my constituents, so I would appreciate you answering that if there are any protocols.
Well, certainly there are protocols whenever we see anything unusual around our nuclear sites or our national security sites writ large.
Okay. I'm going to switch gears. The proper use of the reserve is the proper use of the reserve, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in particular, considering its intended purpose is to provide an emergency stockpile of crude oil to protect against significant supply distributions from war or natural disasters. Is that the proper use of that reserve?
It is.
Okay. Should the U.S. face, if say the U.S. were to face an actual military threat, how would you describe our ability to respond to extreme energy disruptions?
We would have an ability to respond. We have the largest reserve in the world right now.
Okay. What's your strategy to help lower the prices at the gas pump without robbing our emergency reserves? Seems we do these things around election times, and both parties are.
The reason why barrels were sold from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in 2022 was because Russia invaded Ukraine and there was a disruption in global supply. That emergency caused the president to release barrels so that he could temper that global supply disruption, including asking our allies from around the world to do the same, which they did.
How many of our military bases in Europe depend on or utilize Russian energy?
Our bases in Europe?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not aware.
Okay, good deal. Under your leadership, the Department of Energy has targeted gas stoves, washing machines, refrigerators, and clothes dryers based on what was called unquantified benefits related to climate and public health. How do you balance the meager, unquantified benefits of these rules with the massive cost burdens imposed on American manufacturers and consumers?
First of all, they are quantified. Americans will save $2 trillion in energy savings because their appliances are more efficient. We're required to do that under...
Yes, ma'am, but the poor folks have to when they do this. They have to buy these things. I think we're taking that, and I know the corporations love it when y'all put these new rules and regulations in, ma'am, but I really wished we had a little more time, and I wish you would show up when we ask you to. I think that shows a lot of arrogance, and Tennesseans are reminded of this leadership every time they go to the pump. And you all should be ashamed, I think, for your lack of accountability to Congress by not showing up when you're asked. I mean, we had to threaten you with a subpoena just to get y'all here. So I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields back.